Jill here. So yeah, I'm a boxer. I've been boxing for a short 6 years. I got started late in the game. Typically boxers start like 9, 11 years old. I started at age 25 and I am now 30. So I had a small gap to make up for a lot of experience. So I kind of just went with it. Pretty much everything I do, I try to go 100%. So took this and I did the same exact thing with boxing, now into network marketing, trying to just translate everything across the board. But I was the same as Brandon. So like I started.
Jill, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I started a year ago, maybe like a month after Brandon and Olivia had gotten started. And same, that's when I was training for the Olympic trials. So I had already thought I was eating healthy. I didn't know much about organic nutrition. I didn't know about glyphosate. I didn't know about the gut microbiome. And I had been a trainer for 8 years or 7 years at the time. So I was just kind of blown away that I didn't know all of this information. And it was something that I was like, okay, I need to kind of learn more about this. And I want to share this with other people. So same as Brandon, I just kind of got hooked on the ULT, the Power Shake, Biomedic, the Super Aminos always really stood out for me. Those are probably one of my favorites. So I immediately started to notice changes. I noticed my athletic ability was leveling up. I loved the way I felt. My recovery was faster. And I knew a lot of that had contributed to cleaning out my gut and just being a more efficient human being. Everything I did just seemed it was working more efficiently. So a year later now, a week ago, I guess, they come out with the fitness holistic pack. And I knew immediately when I saw it, I was like, I have to order that right now. I literally ordered it that same day that you guys, did that video, came out with that. I ordered it that night and I was like, this is it. Like, especially because like Brandon said, I had already tried these things in the past, but for some reason, it didn't really click for me yet. I didn't really understand. And I was kind of just stuck on the ULT, still taking those super aminos like crazy. So once I got into the fitness holistic pack, I was like, I'm going to take it how it says to take it. Just how when I got the ULT, I took it how it says to take the ULT. So what I started doing, I started taking the 10 super aminos when I woke up. And I train in the morning. Every morning I train at 7 o'clock. I do boxing and I do strength and conditioning. The days kind of switch. And then sometimes I do sparring as well. So every morning I'd wake up, I'd take my 10 super aminos. I would take the 2 Super XZanthin and then I would take the Can't Beat This before I worked out. And that was something I wasn't really doing before. I was taking the super aminos before, but I wasn't taking the Super XZanthin and I wasn't religiously taking the Can't Beat This. I kind of took that just like here and there when I felt like it. So now I've been doing it for a week, that same routine. And then post workout, I've been taking the MVP Sport. I like to mix the Power Shake with it.
You still want to go out there? Crazy girl.
But I mix the Power Shake with the MVP Sport. So I like to do 3 tablespoons of the Power Shake and then 3 tablespoons of the MVP Sport vanilla. I have the vanilla. I haven't actually tried the chocolate one. So that's what I do post workout. And then I take the super Lytes with that. And then I also do maybe like another 5 super aminos, depending on how hard the workout was. So my workouts are typically 2 to 2.5 hours every morning. That's not something that I have like my clients do. That's just specifically because that is my sport of boxing. There is a lot of ins and outs with boxing. It's a lot of skill, a lot of performance based. So it is something we really have to kind of get down. There's tons of different things that you could do. I know it seems like you're throwing your hands around, but there's a ton of different things that you can perfect in boxing. So then also after I work out later in the day, I go on a run. So I do 2 a day. So I'll run like, depending on the day, I try to switch it up. I'll do anywhere from like 2 to 6 miles, just depending on what I have already written down for what I've already set for that week. So that's kind of the way I go about it. And then also when I go run, I do the same routine. I wasn't doing this until I heard Dave Sandoval say it, that you can actually do it again later in the day. So I was like, well, why not? Let's give it a try. So I ended up taking that same routine that I was doing in the morning and I started doing it before I would do my runs too. I just I feel like afterwards I didn't really need as much of the like MVP sports. I would do more of like the electrolytes and the power shake post run. So I started doing that. So I've been doing it for a week, and I have felt, I didn't know that I could level up from my level up, but I have. So I have felt amazing since, or I guess 7 days now. Yeah, because it's Saturday, so 7 days ago. I've noticed that it's easier for me to breathe in my exercises. I can just do more. I just feel like, I guess the board would be like hyped when I go to do my workouts. But just the kind of little backstory, a month ago, or I guess almost 2 months ago, I broke my nose in boxing during some sparring that was a little not cool. It shouldn't have ended up that way, basically. So anyways, I ended up breaking my nose. So I hadn't sparred. I had to take 6 weeks off of sparring, and I had it set on my calendar. October 22nd is the first day I'm allowed to spar. And if you're a boxer, then you know you're kind of itching to get in the ring again, itching to hit someone in the face. It's just kind of how it is. So October 22nd came around. I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's spar. So there's different types of endurance for boxing. There's your mitt work, your training endurance, and then there's your sparring endurance, and then there's your fighting endurance. I say that because they are all so different in the way that you feel when you're actually performing. Typically, like when you're in the spar, when you're doing like mitt work, stuff like that, everything's kind of like you're being told what to do. So you kind of don't have to think as much, like jab, straight, hook, like you're listening, you're responding to what your coach says. But when you hop in the ring and you're doing sparring or fighting, no one's telling you what to do. You're just reacting and you're moving. You're trying not to get hit, and you're trying to hit somebody. So it's a huge difference in performance and endurance. So I got into the ring. I got to spar my coach, Berlin, who's also a brand partner on this team. So I got to spar him, and he's like, all right, let's just do, it's your first day back. So let's just do like 3 or 4 3-minute rounds. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. That sounds good. Like I can do that. First day back into sparring. So we started going, we started sparring. So 12 rounds later, 12 3-minute rounds later, we're like, okay, well, I guess we should just be done now because of, we've kind of been doing this for a while. So it wasn't even like we stopped because we were tired. So I noticed just being able to pick it up right away, go right back into training. It was nothing. Like I was just able to pick it up. My endurance was fine. It was like, I don't know. I just felt like a super athlete at the time. So at that point I was like, all right, this stuff is legit. Like I got to get my friends on this. So again, I made that video that Brandon was talking about, and started sharing that with some other athletes. So we actually had some other boxers that are kind of interested in what we got going on. Just because as an athlete, Purium is awesome. What we have is, I love all the products. I would never take anything else. In the past, I took pre-workouts. The ones that make you shaky, the ones that make you nauseous, the ones that make it so you have to continually take them. You have to rely on them to have a good workout. And I kind of got into this cycle of, now I can't really go to sleep, but now I'm waking up and I got to go work out, but I have to take my pre-workout and able to perform at 100% in this workout. So I kind of just ended up in this endless cycle. I noticed I started to be tired all the time. Even if I did take my pre-workout, it started to not really have an effect on me. And then I later learned that is adrenal fatigue. So I didn't really understand what I was doing to my body. I just felt like this is how I perform and I need it. And I'm slowly damaging my adrenal glands, not realizing how, they're in control of your hormones and your thyroid and all that. I didn't know that then. But now, being part of this group, being surrounded by other people who are educated, I was able to learn that about it and realize that they can't beat this. Like having something that's so pure, and all it is a vasodilator. Like, okay, that's cool. Like I'm okay with that. I don't even drink coffee like that. I just can't beat this if I'm feeling like I need some more energy. So yeah, if you don't know, the can't beets are a vasodilator. Vasodilation is when your veins expand, allowing more blood flow and oxygen through the body. Especially if you're like, I feel like you're, endurance. I'm sure this goes across the board, but endurance athlete, that is obviously really needed to get the oxygen and blood flow throughout the rest of your body. Michael, do you want me to go through each of the products? Yes. Okay. I see someone shaking his head. Yes. Yes. Okay. So if you want to pull it up on the screen, you can, or I have it memorized if you want me to just, talk about them. So either way works for me. Okay, cool. All right. So we have I'm just looking at this. So we have the super aminos. Yes, those are my favorite. Like I said, I have been taking those since the beginning, since, Olympic trials. Those I like. Those saved me for sure. So especially as an athlete, as a boxer more specifically, we have to cut weight. We have to weigh a certain amount in order to be able to fight. So I fight at 152. That's the weight class that I fight at. I cannot be 152.1. If I am, I'm disqualified and I'm not allowed to fight. So the super aminos, those are what helped me maintain my muscle mass. Typically, when I go into camp, we have to cut weight. And during that weight cut, I always lose muscle. And I always end up going into my fight feeling depleted, feeling like, oh, if I could just walk around at my weight, if I could just be in this area, like how much better I would perform. So being able to take the super aminos helped me take it to the point where I was able to maintain my muscle mass, and it was the best I had ever performed. That was like 3 months after I had started taking like the ULT. So I really contributed that to the super aminos and also cleaning out my gut. And then you have your can't beat this. So that is the pre-workout. That's the one I was talking about. That's the vasodilator, opens up your veins, allowing more blood flow and oxygen into the body. So again, I recommend taking that one. I do about, depending on the day, 2 to 4 teaspoons. It just kind of depends. I always change it up. And then the MVP sport. So that was just, I'm weird with food. And it sounds so weird, but I just have a hard time getting all my protein in. So having the super aminos, awesome. But now also having the MVP sport on top of that, I felt like really, especially taking it afterwards, really played a difference in in my recovery and being able to maintain my muscle mass without losing it. And then we have the Super XZanthin. So that is delays the onset of lactic acid. So that's like that burning sensation that you feel when you go into a workout and you start repping out and you start feeling that burning sensation. That's good because you're growing. That's when you start stressing that muscle, and that's when you're going to get that growth. But that's also when a lot of people stop. So the super XZanthin, it delays that feeling so you can do a little bit more. So even if it's just like 1 rep, even if it's just like 5 more seconds, whatever it is, as an athlete or someone that works out, that's a huge difference. It's a huge difference if you could just do 1% more is a huge difference. So that the super XZanthin, and it's also a natural skin and eye protector. So like if you're going to work out outside, it's going to help with protecting your skin. That's just like an added bonus to it. I definitely take the super XZanthin to delay that onset of lactic acid. And then you have the super Lytes. So the super Lytes is like replacing like a sports drink, like replacing like your Gatorade, replacing any of those types of things. You take that one post workout. It's going to help with like your electrolytes. Electrolytes, you need that so your muscles aren't like cramping, so you're not fatiguing. So I really like taking those afterwards. And that was something, super Lytes were something I did not take until this past week. So it's cool to be able to be like, that's one product that I really, really had no idea how it worked or anything like that. And I've been able to add that in. So yeah, that's been my experience with taking the pack, actually taking it as recommended to take it. So I'm very thankful that they came out with this. I feel like it was just like clicked for me once it came out, like, okay, I got to go this route. I know so many athletes, like it just made sense to me. There's so many athletes out there that want to level up, and typically they have no idea what to do with their nutrition unless they actually have a nutritionist. but most people don't, especially, it sounds weird, but especially boxers that typically don't know anything about nutrition. So it's being able to be that person in this community, being like, oh, I can help you with that. You know, now, especially now that we have this pack, it makes more sense to them to be able to be like, okay, yeah, the ULT doesn't make sense to me, but the fitness, they both make sense to me. But, you know, some people are not in that mindset yet, which is perfectly fine. So that's been my experience with the fitness pack. I don't know if you guys want me to say anything more, let me know. I got you.
So Jill, when you said you were, I loved how you said you were stuck in a good way on the ULT. So I think we all have a mindset where we just do the same, the aminos, the power shake, the this and the that. So you had to really push yourself once you saw that to say, I got to jump into these other things.
I don't think I really had to push myself because like I said, I bought it that same day. I think it was just more so like I was ready to level up again, and I'm going to be going pro soon. So just kind of like there's a lot of like different level ups happening in my life. So I was just kind of like, you know, my nutrition has been pretty set for the past year. So when they came out with this, I was like, all right, so here's the next step. I'm going to take this how it says, and I'm going to really level up in my, especially because, you know, when you go in camp, you start training more twice a day, 3 times a day. I've already felt great taking the ULT, but now just adding this into it, again, has been a game changer. So it's been awesome.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Brandon, would you like to add anything to this conversation?
No. Like I said, I was inspired by Jill to do it myself. That's why I let her take it away, because she's the one, like she said, she works out 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day. I work out for like 30 minutes a day. I'm in and out of there. It's madness when I'm in there, but it's quick. You know what I mean? It's uneventful. I will say, however, though, that I have been using this as an opportunity to reactivate customers, and we've been getting a lot more. We've been getting a lot more new customers every day now, every single day, new customers. But we've also been able to re-engage people who may have just been tired of seeing 10-day cleanse, ultimate nutrition, 10-day cleanse, ultimate nutrition with the fitness package, because it's like, hey, listen, I know that you got it, your gut microbiome now, you're staying consistent with the biomedic. Now it's time that we take it up another level. So I think that this is just a great way to re-engage people and introduce them to something new. Even though the products aren't new, it does have a new energy to it.
Fantastic. So, hey, everybody. So we just heard from Jill that she's going pro. She made the announcement here today. Oh boy. So we're going to all cheer her on to become a world champion, right? She's going to become the champion of the world here in her weight level. So does anybody have any questions for Jill or Brandon? Please feel free to speak up.
Yeah.
The gym unicorn.
I have a bunch of friends that I've in the boxing world just from like growing up in it. And I got my Muhammad Ali t-shirt on right now, funny enough. But my question is, one of the boxing persons that I know, they're from, they're on isogenics right now. And, you can tell that like, there's like a disconnect with their nutrition knowledge, because like they're posting stuff at like Popeye's chicken being like, hey, Popeye's great protein. And we're like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, so I was wondering if you had any advice that I could maybe share with somebody that that's on isogenics, or even just like, what's sort of your go-to approach when you're talking to a boxer?
Well, for me, it's different because I am a boxer. So it's just an easier way to connect with people. I can kind of like, oh, this is what I'm doing. But I feel like if I'm talking to first of all, if I'm talking to someone else that's taking another product, I don't ever talk down about what they're taking, because that might be where they're at right now. They may not be, that just isogenics might be their thing right now. And maybe, obviously to us, Purium is a level up for sure. But maybe they're not ready for that step. So if I'm talking to another boxer, I always mention the weight cut thing and maintaining the muscle. That seems to be the one thing that's like, what, you're able to maintain your muscle and do a weight cut? Because that is very challenging. A lot of people that do weight cuts have to lose 10 to 15 pounds within like a couple weeks. So it's a lot of weight that people have to drop. So when you start to hear that like somebody was able to maintain all their muscle and be able to do the weight cut, like that honestly is probably might be an icebreaker for somebody to hear that. But then also, like, you know, feel free if you want to connect them to me. If you want to send them my Instagram page, it's at JillieBeanFit is my Instagram. So if you want to say, hey, my friend Jill, she's doing this, this, and that, you can kind of, you know, get them seeing what other athletes, what other fighters are doing. And I'm not the only one. Like, I have other boxers, other athletes that are doing this as well, especially within my gym. So that could be something that you could do. And then just being that person that they, you know, just constantly being a product of the product yourself, you know, taking the holistic pack yourself, posting how it's making you feel, because you know they're going to be watching, especially if you at least mention something to them. Like, I maybe don't push anything. Like, I wouldn't talk down about isogenics to them, because like that's going to obviously put up a defense wall for them to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to listen to you now. So I would kind of just go about it maybe that way, kind of just be the product of the products, keep posting about what you're doing, keep posting about how you're feeling. And then eventually that might kind of click for them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question too.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that at the beginning you didn't take the holistic pack as it was on the schedule, and then you added the super lights in the last week. I think the super lights for me are like the one supplement or product that I'm kind of wondering, like, what was your experience after you added them in? Like, what's the main difference that you felt?
So specifically the super lights, adding them in, so I take those post workout. It's hard for me to say like specifically what it was, the super lights, because I did the whole pack at once. So it's like, is it the super lights? Is it the MVP sport? I'm not really too sure, but I know as a combination, to me, they feel like it's working. So I feel like I'll have to continue to do it a little bit more to get more of maybe I'll have to not take the super lights for a week to see how I feel, and then take them again to see if I notice really a difference with taking the super lights. I think that I'll probably have to do that.
Cool. Well, this has been amazing, and I'm so excited for you to go pro. Like, I'm like so buzzing for you. This is awesome, girl. Thanks for all your knowledge.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Any other, come on, who has another question I'd like to ask Jill or Brandon? Feel free to speak right up. Don't be shy. So Jill, I'll say this. So when you say, so the two of the most powerful things you can say to a boxer is maintain muscle and weight cut. That's the power words, huh?
Yeah, those are definitely some power words right there for sure. Especially if they're competitive. If they're not competing, then obviously just being able to pick up that endurance. Endurance is a huge aspect in boxing. It's a lot of repetition, things over and over and over again, especially when you're throwing your arms around, trying to move the body. So doing stuff like that. So being able to, again, to feel like you're increasing your endurance while in the ring. I feel like those are, again, different things. So as far as like a competitive athlete, competitive boxer, maintain muscle during weight cut across the board, being able to increase your endurance, which obviously make you go longer. 3 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're in the ring, it's definitely forever.
And you mentioned you love the aminos, which you get that protein, but I was talking to an athlete yesterday, and she was saying her son, eats like a pound of hamburger a day, right? And so I said, well, that we could get him off of, we could cut that down a little bit. I said, I hope it's organic if it's that much hamburger. But so when you add the MVP with that 16 grams per serving, that really can really, a person can understand, oh, now I've got the amino protein and 16 grams. How many scoops do you put in your shake when you do your MVP?
I just do, right now, I'm just doing 3 because I'm also taking the super aminos after. So I take them before and I take them after. So I'm only doing 3 tablespoons of the MVP Sport, but I mix it with 3 tablespoons of the Power Shake. I just like the taste of that. I do like a little bit of almond milk. But yeah, as far as like doing, like, talking about like eating the meat or whatever you're saying, it's funny. I had an experience a couple days ago where I'm not vegan. I do eat meat. I just don't eat as much as I used to. But I was like, oh, I kind of felt like, oh, I'll have some steak tonight. And I actually ended up like getting sick, and I didn't, like, my body was like rejecting it. And I was just like, wow, it had been a while since I had that as well. So it's cool to be able to have this as a different, having the MVP sport, having the super aminos as something that's going to be absorbed into my body right away. And I think that's kind of the key, because I think when we're eating animal protein or other types of protein, it does take the body time to be able to break it down, digest it, pull the aminos from the meat, and then deliver that to your muscles. That's going to take, I don't remember exact time, but like 2 to 4 hours, I think it is. I think I see Brandon saying 4. So it takes 4 hours for that to happen. So 23 minutes versus 4 hours. I mean, I'll take 23 minutes for sure.
Well, Jill, you really are amazing. Your warmth, your heart, you just got such a great style about you, and your warm presence. So now you're turning pro. So give us a little through line on how you go about planning your first professional fight. What's your schedule on that?
So it's kind of still up in the air because of COVID. It's kind of, I got a message from one of my other female fighters about 2 weeks ago now saying, hey, we're going to do an all female card. Would you want to be on it? So obviously I said yes. So now it's just kind of in the works as far as like selecting a date. I'm in California. I mean, you guys are in California, so things are kind of weird right now. They're talking about maybe possibly shutting down again. So it's kind of like we don't really know what's happening. So I'm thinking, depending on how things go, it's going to be either end of this year, December, or early next year. We do have to go through like a 21 testing period for COVID as well. So it kind of just really depends. But as far as like going into it, that means I stay ready. Boxing's not a season for me. It's not like football or soccer. Like it's a lifestyle. It's something you do day in, day out. If you're going to be skating in the ring, you're going to be fighting somebody, you have to be ready at all times, because especially in this sport, things aren't typically set as far as, oh, you're going to fight, you're going to have a fight every Sunday at this time. It's, oh, you have a fight next week, I hope you're ready type of thing. So it's just kind of like in and out. You never really know what's going to happen. So stay ready.
Yeah, I guess it's just like giving out a gift card. You got to be ready to give those gift cards out.
Michael,
Exactly.
Megan, do you still have a question?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
do. So Jill, you know how the ultimate lifestyle transformation, that's like a 30-day time period. Is the holistic pack a 30-day time period as well? Like, is it something you want to order every month?
I don't think it's I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily like this is a 30-day transformation type thing. Like I said, for me, it's more of like a lifestyle. So I'll just take it anyways, continually throughout the 30 days. So that's something I'd have to look into, because I'm actually not sure how they set that up as far as, if anyone else knows, feel free to share. If it's actually like a 30-day set program, or if it's just like, here's a lifestyle pack, get started on it, and then you just kind of continue with what you're doing athletically.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think it's a 30-day supply. I think it's a month supply, but it's lifestyle. You just keep, like, you should switch it to your smart order.
Right. Yeah. It's 30-day supply for sure.